Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinatarana Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhajanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Suruto Pangor Mama Mandamater Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Shrimad Ratanagar Simhashanasto Shrimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishtalabhi Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamshivata Tatakstitaha Karshanaveno Swanaira Gopir Gopinata Shriyestunaha Bhaktya Vihina Aparadha Lakshay Kshiptascha Kamadi Taranga Madhye Kripa Mai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Can you ask them to stop talking in there? In the kitchen area. So we are on, I forgot. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable, beloved Gurudev Nitya Leela Pravishta, Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatara Sata Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali At the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa Ashtatarasata, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhara Goswami Maharaj, and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Then I'm offering my Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, and my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all of the Vaishnavis. So we're continuing with Sri Vilapa-kusumanjali. Now, we completed verse 6. And now we're going to go to verse 7. And we also heard that from that verse onwards will be Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Pad only in his internal Swarup, praying to Srimati Radharani, all the verses. So, verse 7. Atyut katena nitaram virahana lena dandahyamana hridaya kilakapi dasi ha swamini kshanamiha pranayena gadham akrandanena vidura vilapami padyayi. I'm reading that one more time. Oh, you can repeat. Ati utkatena nitaram viraha nalena dandahyamana hridaya kilakapi dasi haswamini kshanam iha pranayena gadham akrandanena vidhura vilapami padyayi. Atyutkatena nitaram virahana lena dandahyamana hridaya kilakapi dasi ha swamini kshanamiha pranayena gadham akrandanena vidhura vilapami padyayi. O Swamini, a certain maidservant, overwhelmed with love, and her heart always burning in the great fire of separation, laments in the following verses. You can repeat. O Swamini, a certain maidservant, overwhelmed with love, and her heart always burning in the great fire of separation, laments in the following verses. So Srila Gurudev's commentary, the great fire of separation from you. That's this section. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami has written two kinds of prayers or two kinds of shlokas. Some of the shlokas are written while he is absorbed in his internal Swarup Avesh as Rati or Tulsi Manjari, the maid servant of Srimati Radhika. Other shlokas are written in his Sadak Avesh that is his absorption in being a practitioner, as Raghunath Das Goswami, an associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even his form as a sadhak is not material. Both forms are aveshas, identities. Both forms or aveshas, identities, are fully nitya, eternal, and chinmoy, transcendental. But one is with Radhika and Krishna, and the other with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As Raghunath Das Goswami, he is in his form as a sadhak. And as Rati Manjari, she is in her siddha sharir, or perfect spiritual body and position. Avesha means to become so absorbed in the object of one's meditation that one becomes as if one with that personality. It's the meaning of avesh, like Shakti avesh. So to become so absorbed in the object of one's meditation that one becomes as if one with that personality. The example is of the iron in fire becoming one with the fire. The iron takes on the qualities of fire and acts exactly as fire. Later, this example will be explained in relation to the gopis' absorption in Krishna and his activities. The fire is working, not the iron. When Krishna left the rasa dance, so when you put the iron rod into the fire, what is actually operating? It's the fire. It's not the iron rod.
One time, Gurudev said, you put the fire into the iron. And Shama said, no, Gurudev, you said iron into the fire.
Can you give him the mic?
One time, Shama said, Gurudev, you said you put the iron, you put the fire into the iron.
Mm.
He says, no, it's actually iron in the fire.
Mm.
And Gurudev said, no, it's the fire into the iron.
Yes.
Why?
Yes. So, and he's saying that later in these prayers, this example will be explained in relation to the gopis' absorption in Krishna and his activities. The fire is working, not the iron. When Krishna left the rasa dance, the gopis became so absorbed in him that at last they thought, I am Krishna. And they began to play on flutes. They each told the others, oh, see how sweetly I'm moving and how I'm laughing. I'm Krishna. One gopi told another, she is Putana. I'm Krishna. This is all avesh. If one has avesh in Krishna bhajan, then it is actually bhajan. Otherwise, it is like archan. So the practitioner should have avesh. So what's the difference between bhajan and archan? There's a very big introduction about this in the Bhajan Rahasya, written by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, talking about the difference between bhajan and archan. So here Gurudev is saying, all these examples of the gopis thinking that they are Krishna, this is all avesh. If one has avesh in Krishna bhajan, then it is actually bhajan, otherwise it is like archan. The practitioner should have avesh. We have another chair. We can bring the chair for you, Prabhuji. Can you bring the chair? I don't like my godbrothers to be sitting on the floor, especially a cold floor, especially without a carpet underneath us. No. We got the seat for you. You don't like chairs.
I don't like chairs.
What to do? That means your body's not as crippled as ours. You still like to sit. So, Gurudev goes on. There are two kinds of Swarup Avesh. One is Krishna's Swarup, and the other is our Swarup. What is our Swarup? It may be as a father, mother, or gopi. In a sense, the words Avesh and Swarup have the same meaning, in a sense. Like in the verse he's quoting, Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishner Nityadas. Chaitan Charitamrita Madhya 2108. Now, the sadhak will have Avesh in the Swarup of Radha and Krishna's associates, like Rupa Manjari and his Guru Manjari, in those who already have that mood for which he is aspiring. In this verse, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is saying, Kila Kapi Dasi. No one can enter the realm of Radhika and Krishna. In the service of Srimati Radhika, in a male form. Again, no one can enter the realm of Radhika and Krishna in the service of Srimati Radhika, in a male form. One can enter there only in a gopi swarup. Because Raghunath Das Goswami cannot enter there in his external form, he is saying, I am Kapi Dasi. I am any Dasi. So like it says in the verse, O Swamini, a certain maidservant. So he's not designating himself. He's saying there is a certain maidservant. That's what Kapi Dasi means. Like not specifying who is that maidservant. So, Danda Hyamana Hridaya. He is always with Srimati Radhika. Why then is he lamenting? He is explaining, in this male form, I am not seeing Radhika. I am not seeing Krishna or the gopis. In his external consciousness, he is feeling separation, and this also manifests in his internal swarup of a gopi. So in his external consciousness, he is feeling separation, and this also manifests in his internal swarup of a gopi. Even if a sadhak is not situated in his internal gopi bhav, if he possesses some greed, he can also follow Raghunath Das Goswami. So, who would that be pertaining to? Even if a sadhaka is not situated in his internal gopi bhav. Any of us here fit that category? Yes. So, but Gurudev is saying, even if this sadhak not situated in his internal gopi bhav, if he possesses some greed, he can also follow Raghunath Das Goswami. We are not seeing Radhika, but we can feel sorrow that we are not able to see her. At first, Raghunath Das Goswami is feeling so much separation from Srimati Radhika in his sadhak avesh. And then he enters into his avesh of gopi bhav. He cries, O Swamini, I am any dasi. I am sitting on Govardhan and feeling so much separation from you. I want to offer prayers to your lotus feet. So this is called Sri Vilapa-kusumanjali. That Raghunath Das Goswami says that if Radhika asks, why are you doing vilap? why are you lamenting? Then Rati Manjari will reply, I cannot bear this viraha anala. That means the fire of separation. And that is why I want to reveal my heart's desire to your lotus feet. So Radhika is asking him, why are you lamenting? Why are you doing this vilap? And Rati Manjari is replying, I cannot bear this burning fire of separation, and that is why I want to reveal my heart's desire to your lotus feet. The whole book is exactly that. That's what the whole remainder of this book is. Exactly this. Shri Rati Manjari, in the mood of his internal swarup, he is now revealing his heart to Srimati Radhika in extreme lamentation. There are two kinds of bhajan. The first is in Vipralamba Lila. What's that mean? Separation. The pastimes that Radha and Krishna are performing in separation. So, the first is in Vipralamba Lila, and that is performed by chanting and remembering the pastimes of viraha, separation. The second is in Sambhog Lila, performed by remembering the pastimes of milan, of meeting. Although the gopis and Brajvasis, they always like to meet Krishna, he plays in such a manner that they will enjoy Vipralamba Ras. So Gurudev told like this, that it is not the aim and object of the gopis that Radha and Krishna should be separated. Why? Well, first of all, some persons tend to say like that. I remember Gurudev was pointing this out in Hawaii at his festival. And we had shown him the statement of someone else in the Gaudiya Mat. I won't mention any names. And Gurudev firmly disagreed, because that person was trying to assert, he was actually criticizing Gurudev, and saying that, oh, he is not telling what is our final prayojan and our process, because the highest ecstatic moods are in the moods of separation. Right? Got that so far? He's telling. Oh, he is not telling that what has our Acharya said, that the moods of separation are the highest. So then Gurudev told in response, this person who is saying this, he has not done the bhajan to understand. He says, it is true that the extreme ecstasy of separation mood is very, very high and very intense. It is not like a material lamentation. It is ecstatic mood, but yet it feels like burning of separation, as is being described here. So Gurudev explained that the gopis, what is their constant meditation and their constant effort to unite Radha and Krishna? If separation mood is the very highest and the goal, then they would want that Radha and Krishna should always be separated. Gurudev made this very simple, logical observation, you see. So this is the thing, that although the gopis and Vrajvasis always like to meet Krishna, but he plays in such a manner that they will enjoy Vipralamba Ras. So both are there. Both Ras, Sambhog Ras, Vipralamba Ras, they're both there. And we also know that in the Navadip Dham Mahatmya, let's see. Yes, the Navadip Dham Mahatmya, in the section what is the name of the village again? Where Vrindavan Das Thakur, his village there in Navadvip Dham. It's like practically the last place that we go to on the Navadvip Dham Parikrama. And it has that temple. And oh yeah, it's also the place of Lord Ram, where in Treta Yuga he made a place there. Mamagachi, yeah, Mamagachi. So in Treta Yuga, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, actually Lord Nityananda Prabhu is describing this to Jiva Goswami, that here in this place there used to be a very big banyan tree, huge gigantic banyan tree in Treta Yuga. And when Lord Ram, as he was wandering all over, he came to this place, and he liked this place very much, and Sita Devi liked, and so they made a small, like a hut there, and they stayed there for some time. And then in that narration, one day Lord Ram was sitting, and he had a particular kind of smile on his face. And Sita was trying to understand, why are you smiling in this way? And then Lord Ram explained to her. He says, actually, we are in my eternal Dham here. And in the future, I will appear here in a golden form. And I will, at the age of 24, I will take sannyas. And my mother and my young wife, they will cry and weep for the rest of their lives. And then he said, my mother, Kaushalya, in Ramlila will appear as my mother Sachi, and you will appear as my wife, Vishnupriya. And you will cry for the rest of your life, and you will make a deity of me. You will make a deity of me, and you will weep in this way for the rest of your life. So then Sita Devi said, oh, my beloved, my Lord, why would you want to do such a thing? Why would you want to give so much suffering and grief to your most near and dear mother and your wife by doing this pastime? And then he began to explain about the philosophy of Sambhog and Vipralamba. Very nice explanation there. How they cannot exist without one another. In order for there to be the ecstatic mood of separation, there must be a very ecstatic mood of meeting. And also, there cannot be an ecstatic mood of meeting if there is not the ecstatic mood of separation, right? So, in this way, she understood. And he was explaining that in my eternal pastimes, these two moods are always being given because they are a very great treasure for my devotees. They relish both types of moods. So, in that way, Sita Devi understood. So, Gurudev is saying that the sadhak should cultivate vipralamba bhav. Like, I am not seeing Krishna. I am not seeing Srimati Radhika. I am not seeing Braj. I am not seeing anything. The sadhak should always feel separation, as Raghunath Das Goswami has shown here. Separation from Krishna, and especially from Srimati Radhika. In many shlokas, Das Goswami has also lamented in separation from Srila Rupa Goswami. At the time of Rupa Goswami's entrance into Aprakat Lila, he composed this shloka. We've heard this shloka before. It's from his book Sri Stavavali, and it's called Prathanashraya Chaturidashaka, verse 11. So here's what he's expressing when Rupa Goswami has departed. Shunyayate Mahagoshtam Girindro Jagarayate Vyagra Tundayate Kunda Jivatu Rahitasyame. Here Raghunath Das Goswami is saying, now that I no longer have the sustainer of my life, the land of Braja has become empty and desolate. So who is he praying to? Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami has departed. And he's saying that I no longer have the sustainer of my life. So now the land of Braja has become empty and desolate. Govardhan Hill has become like a great python. And Radha Kund has become like the gaping mouth of a ferocious tigress. That's how he's seeing and experiencing the topmost dear places to him. Jivatu rahitasyame. So he has lamented in separation for his Siksha gurus. He's feeling himself that I'm so unlucky. First, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed from this world and left me behind. And afterwards, I live constantly with Sri Sarup Damodar. He also left. Next, I caught hold of the feet of Sri Gadadhar Pandit, but he also departed. Then, experiencing that every place and every dust particle of Jagannath Puri reminded me of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarup Damodar, Gadadhar Pandit, and all their parikars, I fled to Vrindavan. Although our Gurudev has also entered into his aprakat lila, we remain in this world in a very pleasant manner, he's telling. On special days, his Avirbhav, his appearance day, and Tirobhav, disappearance day, the occasion comes that we may remember him. At that time, however, we are involved in arranging the festival. There is very little chance to realize that separation. Only while we are speaking something about him, a tear may come in our eye, or it may not come. If the festival is very elaborate, there will be no tears. So many functions must be managed. The Abhishek, the Puja, distribution of Mahaprasadam to the Vaishnavas, and all these things. We arrange these festivals mainly for people in general, those who have no intimate relation with him. But we should do something so that a feeling of separation will come within our own hearts. That is called what? Bhajan. So, next section, how can we weep for mercy? Who will feel separation? Those special persons who have realized their immense obligation and indebtedness to Gurudev for all they have received, and who have rendered much service to him with Vishramba Bhav, intimacy, they will weep. The consideration that I'm so low and my Gurudev is in such a high stage, that consideration will not be there. What does he mean by that?
This Vishwambhava Bhav, that there'll be like a oneness, tadaka, a feeling of such closeness to Gurudev, just like, as you said earlier, the gopis, they were just so much feeling separation from Krishna that they couldn't forget, and they became like, so that bhav would be there.
Yeah, and also ekatmic mood, feeling oneness with Sri Guru. This is advanced relationship with Guru. But he's saying that the consideration that I'm so low and my Gurudev is in such a high stage, that will not be there. He's saying awe and reverence will not be there. Otherwise, one cannot weep. So in Shastra it is mentioned, Vishrambena Guror Seva. The Sevak performs such intimate service to Gurudev that Gurudev remains always pleased with him. The Guru will not consider for even a moment that he is my servant and disciple. Guru will not feel that. Instead, he will feel that he is my heart, the disciple. Guru will feel to that disciple, he is my heart. Sri Ishwara Puri Pad, the disciple of Srila Madhavendra Puri, and Govinda, the disciple of Ishwara Puri, they were servants of this caliber. Although this is a rare relationship, it is absolutely necessary for Rag Anuga Bhakti. Without a relationship like this, we cannot weep like Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Separation from Gurudev will be experienced on different levels. When we consider how merciful he was and how much greater he is than ourselves, we feel a certain type of sentiment. However, when we remember how near and dear he was to us and how much he loved us, then we will weep profusely for him. The gopis can weep so much more than Nanda Baba, and the gopis can weep so much more than Nanda Baba. Yashoda Ma can also weep more than Nanda Baba, but the gopis can weep even more than Yashoda. This is because their relationship with Krishna is more keen or intimate. We should have this kind of relationship with Krishna. Srimati Radhika, we should have this kind of relationship with Krishna, Srimati Radhika, and also with our Gurudev. And with Sri Rupa-manjali, Srila Rupa Goswami, and all others like them. We should have this kind of relationship. Then we can weep for their mercy. If we have yet to develop an intimate service relationship with our Gurudev, then surely we cannot imagine our relationship with Sri Rupa-manjali or Srimati Radhika and Krishna. Without relationship with Gurudev, we cannot imagine. Our entire advancement depends upon our keen service. How is he using this word in this context? Keen.
Conscious? Very conscious service. Single-pointed?
Keen. So our entire advancement depends on our keen service. How intensely we serve our Gurudev. That means keen, intense. And all other relationships and experiences, they develop on that platform. How intensely we serve our Gurudev. If we can weep for Gurudev, we can weep for Srimati Radhika. If we cannot weep for our Gurudev, we cannot weep for Radhika. That is my experience, Gurudev says. Whatever we know from Gurudev. And so, we should weep in our hearts for him. In the first slok of Sri Vilapa-kusumanjali, Raghunath Das Goswami has prayed to Sri Rupa-manjari. Was he weeping or was he laughing? So Gurudev says it may seem that he wrote this verse in a laughing, pleasant mood. Remember the verse? How he's joking about the cut on the lip of Rupa Manjari, right? Has some parrot come? In actuality, however, he was remembering a previous pastime and weeping at the feet of Sri Rupa Manjari. Telling to him, to her, you have been so merciful to me. This is Rati Manjari telling to Rupa Manjari, you have been so merciful to me. I remember seeing your mood after Krishna had kissed you and left a mark on your lips. When will I see you in that condition again? So that's first verse. Now Gurudev's mentioning the second verse.
Krishna kissed Rupa Manjari.
What?
Krishna kissed Rupa Manjari.
Oh. He's saying like that, but the verse itself is a reference to the fact that because they're manjaris, they're seeing Krishna is kissing Srimati Radhika. But Gurudev is explaining it like this, because that's the first verse. Referring to, you remember the first verse? Yeah. Tvam Rupa Manjari Saki Pratite Puresnin. And so in that first verse, Raghunath Das Goswami, in the internal mood of Rati Manjari, is kind of joking in this way. But Gurudev is saying that it's not actually joking, that it's not in that mood, although externally it looks like that. But actually he's weeping and weeping at the feet of Rupa Manjari and remembering this past time. And he's, when will I see you in that condition again? So now in the second shloka, which begins with the word Stala Kamalini Yukta Garvita. So he is again offering pranam and he's weeping. Will I see this again? These first two verses are very important. Now in this seventh shloka, Das Goswami cries, Ha Swamini Kshanamiha Pranayena Gadham. Will it be possible for me to weep for you for even a moment? If my realization was complete, I would weep constantly. How shall we weep? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given instructions on this in the 6th verse of Sri Shikshastakam. These are the instructions, how we should weep. So what is the 6th verse?
When will my eyes be filled with...
What's the Sanskrit? Shikshastika, we can get away with not knowing the verse in all the other shlokas, but Shikshastikam, we have to know it. You'll know it, you know it. Nayanam. Nayanam galad ashrudharaya. Vadanam gadgada rudhaya gira. Pulakair nichitam vapuh tavanama grahane bhavishyati. So in reading our Bhajan Rahasya, that's the stage of bhav now has been reached in the 6th shloka, right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us instructions on how shall we weep in this verse, where he says, "O Prabhu, when will my eyes be filled with a stream of tears? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand erect in ecstasy as I chant your holy name? Tavanama grahane bhavishyati." Although the word kim, meaning when, is not in the original verse, but we should include it. When will I have so much lamentation that I will weep while chanting the names Hare Krishna, Radha Govinda, or Vrindavaneshwari? Weeping is our dharma. This is our dharma. Weeping. So it's interesting because the term when is not mentioned in this verse by Mahaprabhu. Kim, when. But yet he says we should include it. So therefore Srila Prabhupada, when he introduced the Sikshastakam and gave the first printed translation of it, he said when. So, when will I have so much lamentation that I will weep while chanting the names Hare Krishna, Radha Govinda, or Vrindavaneshwari? Weeping is our dharma. In this verse, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami says, Ati utkatena nitaram virahanalena. Virahanalena. Viraha analena. Fire of separation. He is saying in this verse, my heart is burning in the great fire of separation. He sincerely feels this sentiment. I think that by the grace of Raghunath Das Goswami, our Gurudev and the Guru Parampara, we will also realize, not fully, but we will have some realization one day. This is our real prayer. Who's Gurudev telling this to as he's speaking this? In this book, with Gurudev's purport, Gurudev is physically speaking with a number of devotees that are in front of him. So who are they? Yeah. And maybe a few others that are not leaders, but they snuck in, like Shamarani Didi, and right? So I'm always thinking, not always, but a lot of times I'm thinking of how Srila Gurudev spoke to them, how he presented this to them, this very high topic, this one of the highest books in our disciplic succession. But in fact, Krishna arranged that Gurudev was speaking this to the whole world, because it was all recorded. And we had the opportunity to hear from Srila Gurudev so many years, speaking to the whole world. Generally, he would not be like directly reading and giving his commentary on these types of books. mainly Srimad Bhagavatam and so forth. Brihad Bhagavatamrita, like that. So, but Gurudev is saying that Raghunath Das Goswami, his heart is burning in this great fire of separation, and he sincerely feels this sentiment. So now Gurudev is expressing, I think that by the grace of Raghunath Das Goswami and the grace of our Gurudev and the Guru Parampara, we will also realize, not fully, but we will have some realization one day. This is our real prayer. When we pray and we sing this shloka, this should be our mood. Tvam nama grahane bhavishyati. When, by chanting Harinam, remembering and listening, will I weep. Those who are very fortunate can lament, can weep, and realize these things. Flower songs of pastimes, he realized. Oh, well, they didn't put this separately. That's actually the title of the next section. Flower songs of pastimes, he realized. Akrandanena vidura vilapami padyai. Raghunath Das Goswami is praying, Srimati Radhika, now I want to offer some flowers to your lotus feet. These flowers are songs about the pastimes that he has realized and heard about from Rupa Goswami and others. He has composed Sri Vilapa-kusumanjali in the mood of a sadhak for the benefit of sadhaks. Now in Prarthana, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, in his book Prarthana, he is praying in a similar way. He is praying like this: Hari Hari Are Ki Emona Dasha Habo Chadiya Purusha Deho Kapiva Prakriti Habo Duhu Ange Chandana Parabo. O Hari, will the day come when, even for a moment, my Purush Bhav, my false ego of being the enjoyer, when it will go far away and I will obtain the form of a gopi? May I have a chance that my mood will be such. So that book, Prarthana, right? We actually have pretty good translation of that book, and also Prem Bhakti Chandrika, that version that came from Ishwara Das, remember? I don't know if there's another one that's been done more recently. Yeah, together. Okay. So you know the book well. And the word for word you did?
It was word for word.
Yeah. Yeah, and Gurudev is explaining that this Prarthana, this song, is actually a song number 13.1 in the book. And what is the book for? What is the purpose of the book Prarthana and also his other book, Prem Bhakti Chandrika? They're both books of songs. They're all songs to be sung. Narottam Das Thakur. And these two books, who is one of our acharyas that recommended that if you want to attain Krishna Prem, you have to acquire these two books and read them and follow them. Right? Who is that?
Trivika Maharaj?
Huh?
Trivika Maharaj?
No. Who? Close. Yes. Yes. Gorkishore Das Babaji was being asked about how can we attain this prem that Mahaprabhu has come to give. He said, you simply go to the marketplace and with 2 annas or whatever, you purchase these 2 books, Prarthana and Prem Bhakti Chandrika, and you follow them, and you will attain this Prem of Mahaprabhu. So Gurudev is quoting here before the unfolding of Raghunath Das Goswami's unbelievable prayers in this book to Srimati Radhika. And he's talking about how Raghunath Das Goswami is feeling such intense separation. But what is the inner mood? What is he desiring? And here he's saying, in Prarthana, Sri Narottam Das Thakur prays in a similar way. And there he's saying, O Hari, will the day come when even for a moment my Purush Bhav will go far away and I will obtain the form of a gopi? May I have a chance that my mood will be such. He says, then, Duhu Ange Chandana Parabo. That's the last line in this song that he's quoting. Means, I will apply sandalwood paste on the limbs of the divine couple. Lalita will give an order, and Vishaka will pass the order to Rupamanjari. This is the order. Krishna always likes to see very new Sakhis, and you have collected some. So, send one new Sakhi to Radhika and Krishna to bring them some, So, send one new Sakhi to Radhika and Krishna to bring them some chandana, kumkum, and aguru. These unguents are so fragrant, beautiful, smooth, and cooling. I will take them and anoint the limbs of Sri Radha and Krishna, always looking toward my Guru Sakhi and Rupa Manjari to see whether I am doing it correctly or not. Srimati Radhika and Krishna enjoy seeing this. Because I am a new Sakhi, I may do something wrong, and seeing my mistake, they will laugh and become very pleased. Then he goes on, the second verse of that same song. Gurudev's quoting. Tanya Bandiba Chuda Nava Gunja Hare Beda Nana Pule Ganti Dibahara. When will I arrange the hair of the divine couple? When will I give them gunja necklaces and garlands strung with various flowers? Srila Narottam Das Thakur, in the form of a manjari, is seeing that Radhika's and Krishna's hair is untied and scattered here and there. He says, then from the corner of her eyes, Rupa Manjari will indicate to me that I should first comb their hair. First I will comb Radhika's hair and then Krishna's also. Radhika will grimace as if my combing is causing her some pain. Rupa Manjari will say, what are you doing? You should comb very gently. Then taking the comb from my hand, she will teach me how to do it properly. This is the duty of Guru. And then I will ask her, may I do it now? With her permission, I will try again. After her hair has been combed, braided, and tied, Srimati Radhika will be decorated with fragrant flowers like Beli, Chameli, and Juhi. Navagunja Hare Beda, a beautiful garland of gunja, will be offered to both Krishna and Srimati Radhika. Nana Pule Ganti Dibahara. By gathering 7 or 8 differently colored flowers, I will string a Vaijanti Mala or a Vanamala, forest flower garland. I will also place some flowers in Radhika's braid in a very fine artistic fashion. When Krishna is offered a garland, he always knows who made it. Did you know that? When Krishna is offered a garland, he always knows who made it, especially if it was made by
Rupa?
Radhika, Srimati Radhika. Similarly, if Krishna makes a garland, if he makes a garland, and someone else gives it to Radhika, she can immediately feel that it was made by Krishna. Next verse of that song. Pita Vasana Ange Paraibo Saki Sange Badane Tambula Diba. When will I give them yellow garments? When, accompanied by the other gopis, will I place betel nuts in their lotus mouths? Krishna is Shyam, the color of a fresh rain cloud, and his cloth is Pita, yellow, like lightning in the cloud. Saki Sange means that she is taking the help and the instructions of her Guru Saki and Rupa-manjari and all others. Because I am new, I am taking their help. They are teaching me. After giving Radhika garlands and clothes, I will decorate her ears, her braid, and forehead with flower ornaments. So guess what? The Bhakta program goes on. Here in this world, every one of us come as a new devotee at some point, whether we're born into this or like that. But we're a new bhakta.
We get the tough love.
Yeah, we get that too. But there, we will also be a new servant, new gopi.
So what is the primary seva of Raghunath Das? It seems like it's general. All these other sevas are going on. But there's one primary seva that he's actually particular.
Well, I suppose we're going to learn it as we go through the book, but if you know it and you want to say it, please tell us.
Just trying to pick it up from there.
Oh, okay. Well, we can keep our eyes open and see if anything becomes prominent. So, yeah, so it's so sweet that Radha and Krishna, they like to see new gopis. And then when the gopis are combing, then Radhika makes a grimace on her face. You pulled my hairs. But she does that just to, encourage that Saki, because then Rupa-manjari comes and says, no, don't do like that. Do like this, very gently. And then that Saki gets another. And Radha and Krishna are very pleased and they laugh. They enjoy this. We'll be there someday. And Narottam Das Thakur in this song that Gurudev is quoting is showing us how Narottam Das Thakur himself is praying for this. The next verse says, this is verse 3, Duhu Rupa Manohari Haribo Nayana Bari Nilam Bari Rai Sajaiya Navaratna Jari Ani Bandibo Vichitra Veni Tate Pul Malati Kantia. When will I gaze at the beautiful forms of the divine couple? When will I dress Srimati Radhika in blue garments and decorate her braided hair with garlands of jasmine flowers and strings of 9 different kinds of jewels on a golden thread? I will then place Kasturi Bindu, a musk dot, on Srimati Radhika's chin, and I will draw Makara. What's a Makara? It is a mystical sea creature resembling a dolphin, a Makara. And I will draw Makara on her cheeks. And after this is completed, I will hand her and Krishna a mirror. From the side, I will observe their forms and think how beautiful they are. Nilambari Rai Sajaiya. I will dress Srimati Radhika in Nilambara, blue cloth, the color of Krishna. She will wear a red skirt, and her very fine, almost transparent veil will be blue. I will place many beautiful jewels in her hair and decorate her braid with garlands of malati flowers. Then Gurudev continues with the last verse from this song, from Prarthana, and he says, Se Rupa Madhuri Dekibo Nayana Bari E Kori Mani Abhilas Jaya Rupa Sanatan Deho More E Dan Nivedai Narottama Das. My desire is that someday I shall be able to directly see the sweet beauty of the transcendental forms of the divine couple. O Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami, all glories to you both. Please bestow this treasure upon me. Please grant my desire. And Narottam Das appeals to you in this way. So Gurudev has chosen this song to speak to these ISKCON people, to give them some further illumination before he, goes further in all of these prayers, to show what is the actual mood of the prayer. So now Gurudev says, our goal is to perform service like the Manjaris. Just looking ahead here. Okay. Yeah, the other parts we'll read tomorrow, but I'm just finishing this section. Our goal is to perform service like the Manjaris. Is that our goal?
Sure.
Yeah? Our goal is to perform service like the Manjaris. Have we thought about that? Do we think about it on a regular basis? Yeah. Yeah, we do. We do from time to time. We also like to hear about it. And this is because of the association that we had and that we are still having by following the instructions of our Guru Varga. So now Gurudev is telling about this song of Narottam Das Thakur, and he's saying that in his Sadak Vesh, Srila Narottam Das Thakur is praying to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, and he's not praying to the Sakhis in his Sadak Vesh. In his Swarup as Vilapa-kusumanjali, she will pray to Sri Rupa Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, Rati Manjari, and other Sakhis. She will pray like this: when will that state come so that I may serve in this way? When we read these prayers, what will happen? Gurudev is telling what will happen. Some coating will certainly come in our hearts. You know this? Coating. You remember how Gurudev explained that? In relation to, he used some example of a person that was very direly ill. It's actually a real life example of one of the devotees in the Mutt, and he even named the person, but I don't remember. But that person became so sick over a period of time, they couldn't even swallow anything practically, right? And whatever they would try to swallow, they would vomit. So they brought an Ayurvedic doctor there. And so the Ayurvedic doctor checked him, everything. Then he prescribed, give him 1 tablespoon of fresh ghee. And they were very astonished. They were very astonished that he would suggest, in this condition, he can't digest anything, right? But you're telling to give him a tablespoon of ghee? We don't understand. How is this going to help? And the Ayurvedic doctor explained, yes, it is true that most of it will just pass through his system, or he may even vomit. But some very thin coating will remain on the inner side of the intestines. And then the next time, a little more, and what will happen from the coating is that so much powerful nourishment will come that his condition of being, because he had nothing going into his body, but in this case, even the tiniest little amount, it's full of such very powerful nutrition, the ghee, that gradually, he will come to normal condition, and then his appetite will come, and he will be able to digest anything. So here Gurudev is saying that Narottam Das Thakur is praying to Rupa Goswami and to Sanatana Goswami, and he's not praying to the Sakhis, but he's praying in his Sadak Vesh as Narottam Das Thakur, right? So in his Swarup, as Vilapa-kusumanjali, that's his internal Swarup, then she will pray to Sri Rupa Manjari, to Lavanga Manjari, Rati Manjari, and other Sakhis. When will that state come so that I may serve in this way? Now, when we read these prayers, some coating will certainly come in our hearts. It will be a coating only, but it will act and it will create our samskar. That's what we're reading this for. So then Gurudev is saying that Sri Bilvamangal Thakur has written in his Krishna Karnamrita, Kada nu kasyan nu vipad dashayam, kaishora gandhi karunam buddhirna, vilochanabhyam vipulayatabhyam alokayashyan vishayi karoti. All the compositions of Bilvamangal Thakur are so beautiful, So here, Gurudev is quoting this verse from him, where Bilvamangal Thakur is saying, Krishna, an ocean of mercy, bears the fragrance of fresh youth. When, oh when, will some danger to me focus his attention so that he looks upon me with his beautiful wide eyes? So a similar desire has been expressed here. The author, Sri Bilvamangal Thakur, is a Bhavuk Bhakta. He's not Siddha, but Bhavuk, and also Rasik. He has received something in his heart from the Ragatmik Jan, and so he is Bhavuk. Bilvamangal Thakur is Krishna Paksha and Krishna Virahita. He is inclined towards Krishna, and thus he expresses separation from Krishna, not Radhika. He has written all the verses in Krishna Karnamrita with some connection to Srimati Radhika, however, because he also has some taste for her service. Krishna does not want to listen to any prayers that are devoid of a connection with Srimati Radhika and the gopis. If he hears, quote, I am being served by Radhika, or I am serving Radhika, then he becomes so pleased. So in the first verse of Sri Krishna Karnamrita, Srila Bilvamangal Thakur has used the words Jayati, Jaya Shri, and like that. So I won't go further. We'll save this for tomorrow. Isn't this wonderful to hear these topics? And Gurudev, what he gave to them, it's inconceivable how they could leave that. Inconceivable.
They didn't get the coding.
Yeah, something prevented it from coating. Yeah.
Gurudev told me in regards to this. He says, in other words, I'm only giving them something like 25%.
Yeah, he said, I'm only giving them something like 25%. Yeah. Gurudev was not meant to only give it to them. Krishna had a different plan, and therefore he gave it to the whole world. Yeah. And now we're sitting here and we're reading it and understanding with our relationship with Gurudev and appreciating so much. Jai Shri Vilapa-kusumanjali ki jai. Jai Shri Raghunath Das Goswami Pada ki jai. Shri Rupa Goswami Pada ki jai. Shri Narottam Das Thakur ki jai. Shri Bilva Mangal Thakur ki jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Sachinandan Gaura Hari ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. You can sing.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
That's a morning tune. You don't sing the morning tune in the evening. Gurudev would stop anyone. Just regular. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
That's good at any time.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya.
Govindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satchavajai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevaja Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha